Now, hello everyone, welcome back to the channel G-Man Aviation. Now, in today's video, we are going to be talking about and taking a look at the history of the Antonov An-225. Now, this, as you can see on your screen right now, was the largest plane ever made. So this was as big as they came, as big as cargo planes came. Now, obviously, this is a cargo plane. No passengers would be transported on this plane. Now, this plane does have 6 engines, so this will be a little interesting to use. We'll have to use our other throttle quadrant, because it doesn't even register 6 engines. So, 6 engines, 3 on each wing, and this plane is just so big. We're going to actually get out of the aircraft here, because we can do that in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, and basically just see how big this plane actually is. Now, you could pretty much just walk fully under it at normal adult human height. You can see this plane has a lot of things on the outside of the livery. This is what the plane looked like in real life. Of course, this was a Ukrainian plane. We're going to be talking about the history in a little bit. But you can see here we have 2 front main landing gear. Now, that was a little rare. I mean, it is rare. It's not that often that you see 2 wheels at the front. Talking more about wheels, we have a lot more back here. Now, you can see so many, each one, I think there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 wheels on each side of the aircraft with these big, giant cargo doors that hold the wheels in them. Now, this was a cargo plane, so we'll check out what that means in a little bit. You can actually see my character's running right now, and it takes a little bit to even get to the front and the back of the plane, just because of how big it actually is. Now you can come around, see here, these are the engines at the bottom of our wing. Of course, very, very tall aircraft. Now, I will use this free camera to see inside of the plane, because it is modeled here in the flight simulator, but we cannot see it in the movement part of the game. So let's come in ourselves, because the floor doesn't have any physics. So here we are inside of the Antonov An-225. Now you can actually see that there is some payload in here, as well as some spare tires. You can see we have this big little thing of boxes here. Now, yes, this is what the Antonov was used for transporting these any cargo type things. Now, up here you could see is the cockpit. Now, if we could get into it a little easier, there we go. This is the cockpit of the Antonov An-225. You can see back here was kind of where the crew people would be. And this is the door that would actually be there. The emergency door would be right like here, basically, which is kind of interesting. Now, looking in here, this is actually a pretty big plane, or big flight deck at least, big front of the plane where the pilots are. You can see we have what seems to be like navigators over here, and of course some sort of engineering panel over here. Now, none of these buttons seem to work. I can maybe check it out when we get into cockpit view. If these, they do work, the buttons do work on the flight simulator. But you can see this is kind of like the engineers area, as well as over here, like the kind of a navigator area. Now, of course, this is where the captain would be. We have our yoke in front of us here, as well as these older type instruments. Now, of course, this interesting little, like, old CRT display thing. Very interesting previous thing. And, of course, we have our 6 engine levers. And I believe, yes, some of them do have reverse thrust. Let's see if all of them can have reverse thrust. I don't know how many actually do have reverse thrust on them. But obviously some do, and probably these ones. Yeah, these ones seem like they do. Oh, they all do. So you can have 6 reverse thrusters. We'll be testing that out later in the video, seeing how quickly this plane can stop. Of course, it's super big. Now, if you have the Microsoft Flight Simulator, this comes with the Aviator edition of the Microsoft Flight Simulator. So this is the kind of add-on thingy. I didn't have to add anything on, but if you have the Aviators edition of the Flight Simulator, you get this plane. So we're going to talk about the history of the An-225 here in a second, and talk about how it was actually used and where it flew. Let's get into it. Let's talk about the Antonov An-225's history. Now, this was nationally originated in the Soviet Union in 1985. Now, 1985 was the first time this plane was manufactured or started getting built. Now, by the time it actually was built, you can see that it was developed from Antonov. Of course, I believe that is a Russian company. Maybe not. I might not be correct on that. It flew around from 1988 to 2022. So you can see its last mission was from February 2nd to February 5th of 2022, and it was collecting almost 90 tons of COVID-19 test kits from Taiwan, China, to deliver them to Denmark. Now, this was its last flight and returned back home on 5th at the Antonov Airport in Ukraine. Now, when the An-225 was destroyed, it was at the beginning of the Russian-Ukrainian War. Now, NATO actually warned Ukraine to actually start evacuating the place where this was. Now, evacuations were taking place, and before they knew it, before they really expected, Russia attacked Antonov Airport. Basically, its first target in this battle, and caused the Battle of Antonov Airport. Now, in this battle, people were evacuated out of the city, and they still thought that the Antonov An-225 was okay. They said it was still alive and working, but later posted on Twitter they saw their plane was actually on fire in the hangar. Now, sadly, that put an end to this plane. I actually have a photo on screen right now. You can see what the aircraft looked like after. Now, this is the sad ending to this plane. They have not rebuilt it. I don't know if they ever will, but that was kind of the heart-hitting part of this, of the start of this battle with Ukraine and Russia. So their plane was kind of just gone. That was kind of their pride. So, in today's video, we are going to be checking out the Antonov An-225 and kind of showing how its legacy looks in the flight simulator and the rest of its, and see how it flies. Let's get into it. So here we are at runway 21 at the Perth International Airport with our Antonov An-225 here. You can see all of our beautiful 6 engines are here running. You can actually hear them throttle up here. So I say we should go for a takeoff. You're going to release the parking brake and just go full throttle. Let's see how this plane flies. You can hear how the plane sounds. We actually have a pretty good amount of flaps here. Right now we are at 15 degrees of flaps. Hopefully enough for this plane to take off. Now, we are unloaded right now, so very nicely unloaded. You also see this interesting vertical stabilizer that's on this plane. You can see the rudders are actually on the sides, and it lifts from the top here. Now, this plane was actually used to carry some space shuttle and some cargoes on top of the aircraft. So that is one of the reasons why this was made, as well as just the aerodynamics of this aircraft. As you can see, we took off there pretty much no problem, very nicely, and the plane flies like you'd expect it to. Alright, so now you can see we will put up our landing gear here. You can watch all of these ginormous landing gear get put back up into the aircraft and see very, very large, interesting plane, interesting design, and it's very fun to fly, it seems, definitely with some more cargo. So right now we are a little light, so it feels a little easier to move than you think, but it is still a big plane. Now, we'll come back around to Perth International here for a landing. Let's check it out. So here we are coming in for a landing with our Antonov An-225 here. Now, I do have replay mode running so we can see our landing. Now, this plane is just so big compared to, like, everything else. It's so surprising and interesting that you can see. You can also hear the Ukrainian call-outs, which I cannot understand. So, we will just hear them as we come in. A little bit of a floater. We also have vehicles on the runway, but we'll just ignore that for right now. Probably not going to be the best landing. Oh, shoot. Yeah, we're okay, we're okay. Coming in here, we have our 6 engines in reverse thrust here. Very, very nice. We will see. We might be able to stop before the end of the runway. Very, very nice. Let's see. You can see we are trying to keep us on the center line as much as possible. And yes, the Antonov An-225 can land with pretty much only half of the runway that we even had here because of my very, very bad landing skills. We can check out what it looked like here in replay mode with our lovely replay mode that's built in with the flight simulator. You can check it out here. Let's get into it. So here we were coming into Perth International. You can again hear the call outs that are on the aircraft. Let's see our landing if we buttered it. We did float for a long time. Ooh, we actually touched down with our nose landing gear. Definitely not a butter landing. Pretty bad landing, but most of my landings are bad. You can see how much surface area these spoilers actually had to cover to be able to bring the aircraft to a stop. Now again, these 6 engines in reverse were able to slow us down in time to make it to the end of the runway. Now I say let's just do something stupid like we always do in our video. Let's try to land an Antonov An-225 at St. Bartholomew. Let's get into it. Alright, here we are coming into St. Bartholomew with our Antonov An-225 here. Now, one thing when you are flying this plane in the flight simulator, make sure to have a little, don't go full flaps or else your plane will just continue to pull up and you won't actually be able to land. Now, we're not coming over the hill because if I were to do that, I would immediately die. Here, at least we have somewhat of a chance. You can see we're coming in here nicely. Oh, we are in the water. Oh, that is not good. Let's still see if we can stop. Full reverse thrust. Oh, and we have struck a building. We are down. I don't even know if our landing gear was out. That was a very failure of a landing, but most of our landings on this channel are. Let's take a look here. Yeah, we definitely did not even have our gear out, so it's probably better that we landed in the water. So, that was our landing here. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. And I enjoyed that this plane is going to be lived on in the flight simulator, and you can fly it. I assume it will be. There was an add-on for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 when that was around, but this is definitely an interesting plane and cool to see how it looks. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and have a great day.